Hi everyone, it's Desiree. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today I wanted to show you how to make your own trackers. If you've ever been interested in making your own savings trackers, I'm going to show you how to make a regular paper one. We have some nice glossy laminated ones and matte laminated ones. I'm going to go over how you set it all up on Canva, because I like to use Canva to create these, and print them out. Laminate. I'm going through all the steps, tips and tricks, all those things. So definitely check out this video if you're interested in making your own trackers or seeing the process to make them. I'm currently making some for myself for my shop. So I felt like, since I'm in the mode right now, I'm in like tracker mode right now making these, that I would do a video explaining how to make them. So I have these trackers right here. These are the glossy versions with paper backing of the trackers, and then these are nice because they're reusable. And then I have this really pretty matte vellum laminated ones that I'm going to show you how to make, not with this artwork, because this artwork my sister drew up and created for me to use in my shop, but I'm going to show you free artwork that you can use on Canva, so you don't have to sign up for a subscription to Canva. I have a subscription to Canva, which I really like, but you don't have to have it to make these trackers. It's all going to be the free version. You do have to have supplies though. I'll have all that stuff listed down in the description. Now, just a little note to this video. You don't have to do all of this in order to save, obviously, but I find that it is more fun and I save more because of this. So if you're like me, where you need a little bit of an incentive to do these savings and save more, then this is a great option. But again, I'm going to show you 3 different versions of how to do this. One is just going to be regular paper, which is nice, so you don't have to have a laminator and laminating sheets. You just need a printer and paper. Honestly, you don't even have to like have a printer. You could just make the trackers online and maybe even just color them in as you go. But I feel like physically doing it is more of an incentive. So for me, I'm all about like the physical stuff, because I find that that helps me to save more, but it's whatever works for you. But I just wanted to give all the options here on my channel, so that way you can see, so you can see if this is something that you want to do for yourself. And I'll have all of the products listed down in the description if you are interested. So I think this is going to be a pretty long video, so hopefully you enjoy a pretty in-depth video on how to make 3 versions of savings trackers. Alright, so I like to make my savings trackers in Canva. This is going to be the free version of Canva that I'm going to be showing you how to make these items, because I wanted to make sure that everything that I'm doing you can do with the free version. I personally have the pro version, but there's more options there, but you don't have to have the pro version to make these. So what I'm going to do is just go to custom size. I'm going to change this to inches. I'm just going to do like a letter size page. Create new design, 8.5 by 11, just regular page size. So now I have this nice blank page here to work with. I'm going to do 3 different trackers on here, just to show you the different varieties of icons that you can pull in to these trackers. So the first thing first, I'm going to go to elements. I'm going to grab a shape. There's all these nice shapes that you can use. I'm going to go with this one right here, the squared one. It comes already shaded with a color, but I'm going to change the color just to white, just so that way it's no color on the background. But you could make it any color you want. If you want to have like a little color, make it a little bit more fun, you could do that. I'm also going to change the rounded corners. I want them just straight. So now let me change it to color. So now it's straight edges instead of round. Change that back to white. And then I'm going to go up here to border style and add a border. So this one right here, there's different options that you can choose, but I prefer just a regular line. Change this. I don't like it that it's so bold, so I'm going to change this to 1. And again, these are all just preferences that I like. And this isn't going to show on my final tracker. I use these lines as a guide for when I'm cutting. So for me, they're not necessary, but you could have them in your design if you want to, as an element for your tracker. So what I'm going to do now, I like this square one because it shows you the size when you pull it from each side, which is nice. So I'm going to make this one about like 6 inches by 3, but you can make it again any size that you want, but I'm going to go with a 3 by 6 size here. So this is my little template basically, and since I'm going to make 3, I'm just going to copy and paste 3 of these, which I just use my, you can't see on my computer, but I just used my my command keys to do that. So I have 3 that I will be using. I'm just gonna put them off to the side right here. And then I'll just pull them when I need them. Okay, so I have the outline of the boxes for all the 3 trackers. Now I'm going to pick the elements that I wanted, little icons that I want to put into the trackers. So the first things first, I'm just gonna go with a normal like little money icon. So I'm gonna type in money icon. You could type in dollar bill icon. Usually when I'm searching for these items to go on these trackers, I try to put icon because those tend to give me some black and white versions, which are good for coloring in. So as you can see, we have a lot of options here, and there's a little Crown Pro little label here on most of these. And that is because these are for the pro version, the paid version, which again, I do have the paid version. I really enjoy having that. I use Canva all the time for different things. And for me, it makes sense to have this paid version. You don't have to have it, again, because I'm doing the free version. Everything I'm going to be doing in this video is just the free elements. But as you can see, we have lots of options that you can choose from here if you do the pro. But there's some really good free ones. So this one right here is really cute. So I'm going to use this little icon here. I don't want it to be so dark. So here again, you can customize it. I could change it to pink if I wanted to. Again, if you want to make it more colorful, I'm going to go with more neutral tones and change it to this nice gray. So it's not too light, but it's also not too dark. And then I'm just going to size it down a little bit. And for me, I like to have trackers that are vertical, but you could do horizontal trackers if you want to. But I'm going to lay everything out in a vertical way. And so I think I might fit like 4 of these going across this way. So I'm just going to start copy and pasting these so they're next to each other, just aligning them. They give you nice little guidelines so you kind of know where you're at. But even if you don't put them exactly, there's a way to fix everything so everything lines up perfectly. But like you can see all those little numbers, it's showing that everything's spaced out evenly, which is what I want. But if you don't space them out evenly, all you do is just select everything, go to position, and you can tidy them up, and it'll space them out if you didn't space them out evenly, which is nice. Okay, so all of these look good. I'm going to group them together. It obviously won't fit in here, so I will have to size this down a little bit more. Let me just do that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste these first. I'm going to copy and paste some more on here. And then I think when it's all together, I can size it completely down. I think it'll let me do that. So we'll see if that's what happens. So I'm just going to copy and paste a bunch of these until it looks like enough will fit on here. You can put as many as you want. Since this is your tracker, you just keep copy and pasting. You can group them together and copy and paste more, but I'm just gonna do these one line at a time so that way I kind of get a better idea of how many I'm putting on here. I think I'm gonna try one more. Okay, now I don't know if this is all spaced evenly. It doesn't look like it is. So I'm just gonna select them all, go to position, and just do tidy up, and then it spaces everything up. Spaces everything nicely together. Then I'm going to group them together so it's all one piece. And now, okay, now I can size it down. Good. All right. I don't know why I couldn't do it before. So I'm going to let's take one of these boxes here because this is going to be for this one. I'm going to lay it on top, size it till it fits the way I want it to. I don't want it touching the line because the lines are my guide of where I'm going to cut. So I don't want it exactly on the line. I want a little bit of a gap. So that way I have a little bit of white around when I cut everything, but that more or less looks pretty good. I like to leave a top section open and then a bottom section open. Let me just actually go a little bit more that way. So that way I have room to title this and then put another little icon here, which I actually forgot to do that. Let me grab another icon and size this down. This one's gonna be a lot smaller than these because this is going to be how much all of these are worth. I like to make these different quantities. So I'm gonna change the color again to the same color. And I'm gonna go now to text and add some text onto here. For this little icon that I put on the bottom, I want this to say equals and then a $sign. And let me just size that down a little bit. I'm gonna change the color of the font to, oops. Let's see. Just so it matches, but again, you can change it to any color you want. And I'm gonna place this here. So that way I can write this dollar equals this amount. So I can make it 1, 5, 10, 20, you can make it whatever you want. And then I'm gonna add in another little text element. This one is going to be, again, that gray color, and this one's going to say, I'm just going to put savings tracker for this one. And size it down a little bit, pull it. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to move up to here. Oops, and then just make it fit here. And again, you see the little guidelines, it's showing me that it's centered, so that looks pretty good. And there I have my first savings tracker. It looks pretty nice. I'll be able to color these in very nicely. So what I'm gonna do now is just select it all and group it all together. Actually, let me fix this because I don't like that that's going out of bounds. Just so that way it's all one piece. Yeah, like that. Okay, that's better. So this one is done. So I'm gonna put it back over here. And then I'm gonna work on the next one. Okay, so the next one I wanna do like a little cute piggy bank. So let's go back to Elements, type in piggy bank icon and see the graphics. And I got lots of options here. As you can see, lots of pro options, but there's this really cute free one right here. This one you can make any color too. If you wanna make it a pink piggy bank, change like this to maybe a lighter pink, that would be cute. Again, I'm just gonna go basic and go with gray just because I feel like it's a nicer color to color in because I plan on coloring in. But you can make it any color you want. So I'm just gonna do 4 across again, copy and paste, kind of line them up. And I'm sure there's easier ways to do this, I'm not gonna lie, but we're gonna make this a little off-centered so we can see how it tidies it up a little bit. So I go position, tidy up. See, makes it all straight. Nice. Okay, and then let's group these together. And then, oops. I want to copy this whole thing. So copy and paste. And I'm gonna just do the same thing. Just see how many I can fit here. Let's see, 2, we got 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's try 6. Okay, I'm gonna tidy that up and then group it together and size it down a little bit. I think I can actually fit one more. So I'm actually gonna ungroup this, group this together so I can have a whole line. And then put this here. Oh, that's not right. Okay, I didn't grab the right one. It copied from the last copy. Sorry about that. Okay, let me copy this one. Copy, paste. Yeah, that looks right. And then put this here. And then group all these together. Okay, so that looks about right for another tracker. So I'm going to pull this blank one, put this on top, line it up, and just do this same thing. You know what? This one, I think I'm going to do, let's do, change the color. We'll make this one savings tracker. We could do a $10 savings tracker. I mean, you can word it however you want, but we're gonna say that this one's just $10 per icon, I guess. Actually, no, we're gonna do savings tracker. Again, you can word it however you want. Smaller, a little bigger. All right, I'm gonna move this up a little bit closer, and then I'm going to do the same thing where I have an equal sign. So I'm gonna change the color, equals. I'm gonna put that down here so I could put the little piggy bank. Forgot what size I did this. Okay, we'll put this here, grab a little piggy bank, change the color, size it down just a little bit more so it's not exactly like the other ones, and just arrange these here. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And you can actually make this, like you can predetermine it. So we'll make that this one equals 10. So we'll put each of these little piggy banks equals $10. And if I total all of that up, if I make all these 10, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 4, which is 28. So I can actually make this say $280 savings tracker, because that will be the end amount for this one, and title it. So that way, once you finish, then you know you'll have 280, each one equals 10. So you can choose to do that option where you already have a set amount here. Maybe you have a certain goal in mind that you're trying to hit. And then once you fill all of them, then you've hit that goal, which is nice to see. Okay, so that's the second. Oops, let me do the same thing and just make that fit a little bit better. But that is the second tracker. Okay, and I think you kind of get the idea of how this is going. I'm gonna do a more like seasonally themed tracker. I feel like Christmas is a good one because a lot of people like saving for like the holidays and Christmas and stuff. So I'm just gonna go Christmas tree icon. And again, they have tons of non or pro ones. This one would have been good, but I don't like that it's already colored in, filled in. This one's cute. You can color in 3 different ones. Maybe you can make each one $1 in each of these. So total would be $3. That would be a cute one to do. There was one that I saw. This one. This one's cute. Or you can even make this like a little coloring tracker if you wanted to. You can make like each of the ornaments $1. You can make each of these sections maybe $5. You can make this $10. Which I guess I could do that here. Let's do that because that's like a cute idea. Okay, how am I gonna lay this out? Okay, so we're gonna put this here, and this is gonna be a coloring savings tracker, which those are always fun to do. I've done that before, and it's always fun to color these in. So we'll do. Okay, so I'm thinking let's do this by colors. I'm trying to find the best way to do this, and I don't think I've done it this way before. So let's do a shape. Oh, look, I have a square here now. I don't know why this didn't pop up before, but if you have this one already popped up, then just use that so you don't have to round the corners. But I'm gonna get a square here. Try to keep it a square shape. And let's do these as colors. So I'm just gonna put a bunch of random colors. Like yellow is going to be $1. no, we'll make that the star because I feel like yellow is a good star color. So if you want to color yellow, you'd have to do that amount to do that. I think that's a good way to do a tracker. So let's add some text. And this one's going to be $10 for this element. So depending on how you color it, it'll be different. Like if you choose to color things a certain way, a certain color scheme, the amounts will change. Okay, again, I want to change the font. Make it a little darker. Okay, so that'll be 10. And then let's do a green because I figured that would be the bulk of the tree element. So let's see all shapes. Where'd the square go? Okay, now I can't find the square. All right, so I'll do this one. Oh, there's the square now. All right, so there's the square. And we'll make this a green color. And just size that down to a 0.3 by 0.3 size. Is that the size I did? Let's go a little bit more. You know, it's probably easier. Let me just copy and paste this box and just change the color. That'll be easier. Okay, and then we'll just change the color to green so I don't have to keep grabbing the box. And then we'll just copy and paste this number so it's all the same. Oops. Paste. Oh no, that's not right. Sorry. Sometimes I forget the commands that I need to do for here. All right, so it didn't do it exactly the same, but it's fine. And then this one, we'll do these as $5. I think it was 20. All right, so you can kind of get the idea of what I'm going for, So I'm gonna finish this up off camera because this one's gonna take a little bit longer, but I just wanted to show like a different type of tracker that you could possibly do. I'm gonna add in a bunch of colors for like, this is gonna be a very colorful tree. So that way you'll have different options to choose from. And you'd have to have a color. If you don't have a color printer, you could always do, you could do the squares, copy and paste it like so, and do the outline. Change that to 1 and then just make the color blank, and then you can color these in instead yourself and do it that way. But I'm going to continue on with just putting the colors on myself, and I'll show the end result of how this looks. All right, so I got it more or less how I want it. Again, you can change these amounts however you want. You can do $1. You can change these to be lower denominations, higher denominations, depending on what you want this tracker to be. You have that control. I'm going to take the box away before I group everything. I had tidied this up, so I'm just going to tidy this up over here by position. Oh, it was already on that tab. And then just tidy it up. Ooh. Sorry. To the left. Sending everything to the left. So at least it's lined up over here. And then I'm going to group these together. So now they're all like one. And then I'm just going to, like, I like the drawing on the bottom, and then I can have a little key right here in the middle. And then I could put a little title. Christmas tracker. Oh, let's do Christmas savings. Oops. All right. Oop. So we'll fit that here. I'm actually gonna go to this little spacing section and just actually go to line spacing and just bring that up so it's a little closer together. It's not so far apart. Okay, I'm gonna put this up here. This I'm gonna move down just a little bit more. And I'm gonna change the font color just to a lighter. I could make it more festive if I want to, but I feel like I already have enough color here, so I'm just gonna keep with more of the gray tones like that. Yeah. And if you don't like the little key right here, you could always move it down. Let's see if I move it down. It's actually not bad on the bottom. This one I'm totally making on the fly. I honestly have never made one like this, so this is my first time making one like this. It just kind of came into my head, like maybe this would be a cute one to do. You can make this smaller, maybe just on the bottom so it doesn't take up as much room, but I think that looks pretty good. Actually, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to group this together. Now I have 3 very different trackers. I'm just going to rotate these so that way they will print out horizontally, just so I can get them to fit, because if I try to get them to fit vertically, they're not going to fit on this page, but they do fit when you spin them this way. So just a 90-degree angle, and then just kind of space them out. I like to leave a little gap in between each one, so that way when I'm cutting, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to cut. I just like cutting each individual one out, but you could place them together a little bit closer if you'd like, but I'm happy with how these look. So the next thing I'm going to do is just hit share, download. You could download as a PNG if you would like. I prefer just doing as a PDF print because I feel like that's like the best print quality. I have the pro version, and I like to do this best for professional printing, but that's not an option. So we're just going to use this option here and just hit download, and then it will save the PDF. And I'm going to print these out and then just show you how I laminate them next, so that way I could reuse them if I would like to. I just wanted to share the dialog box that pops up when I print. I have Adobe, so I print through Adobe, and it gives me like some more options, I feel, to get a good quality print, which is nice because I always go here, I always go to quality, and I change it to best. So if you're able to change the print quality to best, I would suggest doing that before you print. But here is the file right here. They all fit very nicely on this little letter size page right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and print this. I'm going to print 3 copies just because I want to show 3 different ways of using these. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit print and print these from my printer. And I'll show the printer that I use because I know I get questions about that too. So I have a little cabinet for my printer, and this is where it kind of lives, on the bottom shelf. And this is the printer that I use. It's an HP. I got it at Target. It was very inexpensive. It is the 4155E. Oh geez, there you go. So that is the printer. I'll have it linked in the description. Also link the paper that I'm using. All the products I will have linked, so that way if you're interested in, you know, making your own trackers and stuff, you'll have the same quality stuff, because I've gone through a lot of different kinds of these products, and these are the ones that I like to use the most. So what I'm going to do now is just print out my trackers now. All right, so here are the 3 printed trackers, and I always print best quality, but honestly, you don't have to print best quality. If I would have just printed in normal, this would have printed out so fast. But my printer does take its time when it does do the best quality option, and I think they look pretty good. So the first one, I'm just going to cut this out and use it like a paper tracker, because you don't have to laminate them. Sometimes I prefer doing some of these savings challenges on paper, because then I get to use my fun pens and things like that I have that I can't use on a laminated kind of tracker. Like this little savings one, I probably would want to do this one with like colored pencils or some of the other like pens that I have that won't work on laminated ones. So me personally, I probably would do this coloring one just on paper. But again, you have that option. You can always color it in with markers on laminated stuff. But I like having options and different types of trackers in my savings binder. So I'm just going to trim this out. I have this trimmer right here. I'm pretty sure my little blade here is very dull because I've been using it a lot and I need to get a new one. So I'm hoping I'll be able to trim these out and they don't look a horrible mess. But I do like using this paper trimmer because it's got a nice little guideline in here that I found to be the easiest to use. It's not the best, it's just the easiest. So that's why I like using it. So I use the little, I don't even know if you can see it, but there's like a little line. You see there's like a little guide. Hopefully you can see it. So I like to use that so that way I know where I'm cutting. And like I mentioned before, these black lines, I'm not keeping them. You can keep them if you like the border, but I prefer to use them as a guide to know where I'm cutting. So that's basically what I'm doing right now, is I'm just lining it up so that way I can just cut these out and use them individually. Actually, I'm gonna do the bottom next. Just keep them all together. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but more or less around the same size. And then I'm gonna trim these out next. It's pretty simple though. Since I'm not laminating these, this is the only thing I have to do to the paper trackers. Okay, so there's the first one. It's the Christmas savings. All right, so I could just use these as paper trackers. I have like, usually I get these, you can find these on Amazon. I get these kind of zippered ones for savings. I don't know why I like these, but I like these for when I'm my savings challenges, and just that fits nicely in here. And then you can just put your money in there. And I'll link these too, because you can find these on Amazon. So those are the paper trackers. Now the next ones I'm going to do are a glossy and a matte version of these, but it's basically the same thing. I'm just going to show you the products that I'm going to use and just the process. All right, I got all the things. So first things first, I have the laminator that I use. I'll have this linked down in the description. I did get this off of Amazon. I really like this one. This one's been working really well for me. I haven't had any issues with it, so I definitely recommend this one. Make sure when you get a laminator though, if you don't get this particular one, you have the 5mm and the 3mm options on here. The laminating sheets that I'm going to use are 5mm. I like them because they're a little bit sturdier. They're not as flimsy. So I prefer using these when I make trackers and all my things. So I'm just going to start it so it heats up to the 5mm, and the little lights, I don't know if you can see them, but they're red. Once it turns green, it'll be ready, but it does take a little bit of time to heat up. All right, so I have two versions of the laminating pouches here. I have this nice matte one. Again, I'll have these linked down in the description. I'll actually include the link that I've been purchasing from, but it's a really big stack of them. But there's also another company that sells them in smaller quantities that I've used before, and I know they're good, so I'll link that one as well. And then I have a glossy one. So I have some trackers that I've made here. Oh, you know what? I should have printed one of these on vellum. I forgot to do that. Let me do that. Because I have two versions of this tracker. I have the paper with the glossy, and then I have the vellum with the matte. So let me do that really quick. I completely forgot to do that. I'm going to do a matte vellum and a glossy paper option. So if you do vellum, I probably would make these icons a little bit darker. They'll show up a little bit more once I laminate them, but yeah, I think this will be fine though, just as an example. But you can see this is the vellum, and it has a nice aesthetic to it. I'm not gonna lie, it's really pretty. But once you laminate it with the matte, they're a little bit, you have to have a little bit more care with them, which I'll go over in a bit. But I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit, so that's gonna sit over here. I'll do that one last, and I'll just work on doing the glossy version first. So it's super easy. There's only one way to open these little pocket laminating pouches, and I'm going to just stick this in here and put it as close to that top edge as possible so it's somewhat straight-ish, and that's it. So I have that in the pouch, and this one is ready to go. I'm gonna wait to do this one in a bit once that dries a little bit more. But yeah, that is it. So you want to make sure you feed the pouch in from this sealed end. If you go the other way, it's going to be a mess. So don't do it that way. So yeah, always feed it from this end over here. I have the laminator now in frame. So I'm just gonna slide this in and then it'll eventually catch it and just start rolling it out here. So just kind of slowly bring it in, try to get it as close to the middle as possible so it doesn't go, sometimes when it pulls it through it'll start going to the right or the left and then it gets a little squished through. It does take a bit of time for it to do that, but yeah, that's kind of the speed that it goes at. It's kind of halfway through and I'm just kind of holding it here. Sometimes I like to put a book or something to catch it so it comes out straight and it isn't just going down, but I'm just gonna hold it with my hand for now. All right, and I'm just gonna put it down flat so that way it just cools. It is warm. It's not super, super hot, but it's warm to the touch. All right, so the next one I'm gonna do is the vellum one. Same thing, open, place this in all the way to the top part there, and then just feed it through. And there it goes. Okay, so now that one is doing its thing and we'll let that go through. This one is all the way done. So I'm just gonna, again, flip it down, let it cool on its own. And I am done with this laminator, so I'm just gonna shut it off. Should be good. Sometimes, like after I've cut these, I'll run it through again if I need to. But usually you don't have to do that, but sometimes I do, but I think these will be fine. So I'm just basically gonna do the same thing that I did with the paper trackers and just cut these out. Now with these, this is a pretty good seal on it. You don't have to leave like an edge, like one of these edges. It'll still stay laminated. So I'm gonna cut through, oops, I'll show you this way. I'm gonna go a long ways first and cut through, and I'm trying not to get the black lines in. Okay, so there's the first cut. Here's the next cut. And then I'll cut out them all out individually. Okay, there's that one. All right, so as you can see, there is the tracker. It's not coming off, like the lamination is like stuck to that paper, which is nice. If I had two pages next, like stacked into each other, then this wouldn't work. But since it's one piece of paper, it attaches to it and kind of bonds to it, which is nice. So there's the glossy paper tracker. I'm gonna cut out the rest. There are all the trackers. Okay, so these are all done. Now I'm going to do the matte ones next. Okay, same thing, using those lines as guides. So here are all the vellum trackers. I love the vellum ones so much. They're so pretty. Okay, so those are the vellum ones. Then we have the glossy ones. And then we have, where's my paper ones? Okay, then I have the paper ones. Those are the three options. Now, there's a couple other things I like. There's one more thing I like to do to these, just because they are super sharp on the corners, and when you poke yourself with them, it's not fun. I've never cut myself with it, but it's a nice little poke when you touch the corners sometimes. So I like to round the corners off of these just because it makes them a little bit easier to manage. You don't have to, like, you know, poke yourself with the corners. So I have a little rounded punch here, rounded corner punch. I will link an option on Amazon. So I'm just going to do, I usually do the 4-inch radius, but I'm going to do the 7. I'm going to see how the 7 looks. I think, oh yeah, the 7's nice. Okay, so we got a nice rounded corner so you won't poke yourself with these trackers like that. And then I'll do the vellum one next. Okay, that one's good. Okay, so there's the vellum one. So I'm going to continue and just round the corners. I'll do, actually, let me do the 4-inch radius just so you can see the difference. I prefer the 4-inch, but I think the 7 is a really nice option. Sorry, it's really, really loud. Okay, so there's the difference between the corners. This one just is a smaller radius on that one. It's a little bit wider. And then there is a 10-inch, which I think that would be too wide. But yeah, the 4, the 7, or I've seen 3s and 5s and other radiuses, but that looks pretty good as long as you round them. You don't have to round these. I never round these because it's just paper, but the laminated ones, definitely round them if you plan on doing this. And these aren't super expensive, so you'll be able to get one of those pretty affordably. All right, let me punch out the rest of these. All right, so we have all of them rounded. Looks great. And again, they will fit in these little pouches, which is nice. Very easily slip them in and slide them out. Yeah, that's 6x3 size. That's a good size. You can make them any size you want. You want to make like half size ones, you can do that. You have all those options with Canva. As I showed, you're able to do all of that. So now I have all these trackers. I wanted to go over the best pens to use because that's been a fun experience. So I want to just pass on some knowledge that I've learned, especially when it comes to these matte laminated ones. Because this matte lamination, if you don't use the right pens on here and you try to reuse, because the whole point of the lamination is that you can reuse them. They're nice, but for me, I feel like the whole point is that you can take everything off and reuse them again. So you don't want to ruin the matte. And I've been in situations where I've used a marker, it looks good when I use it, say for instance a Sharpie, but then when you go to remove it, which you're able to remove it, but the items that you use to remove it will start removing also the matte lamination. You don't want that because then it just makes it glossy and then you're basically getting one of these. So I'm going to go over the markers that I've used that are the best to use with these. Honestly, these paper is super easy. You can use whatever you want on these. You can use colored pencils, markers, pens, whatever you'd like on here. No issues. These, however, you got not as many options for the matte. These you can use Sharpies. You can remove, honestly, any kind of marker on here. You can't use colored pencils on here because it won't stay. I wouldn't suggest using pens on here either, but Sharpies work very well. Actually, let me get some Sharpies. So you can use a Sharpie on these because these you can remove this once you're done, which is nice. So you can color those in and then just wipe them off. Also, we have some wet erase markers. These will work very nicely on here too. You do have to let them dry a bit. Sorry, I'm not coloring the best, but you do have to let them dry a little bit because they might come off before it dries, but if you give it a little bit of time to dry, should be good to go. All right, so these you can use on here. Now this, like, you could use a Sharpie on here, but again, you won't be able to remove it as easily and it might damage the matte lamination. So I would suggest using a wet erase marker on these. That's been like the best option I've found because you just use water to remove it and water is not going to damage your tracker. And it comes off very, very easily. So I can color in these little balls here, the ornaments, which on this tracker would be $2 each, so that would be $6. So these work great. And then I found that using these washable markers, again, because you can use water on them, there's tons of color options on here, which that's another reason why I like these. And you can use these to color in the vellum, and then you just use water to wipe them off once you're done, and then you're able to reuse the tracker. But these color very nicely on here, which is nice. So you can have fun with like the colors that you put on here. I can add in like a little goldish color, maybe yellow color on top for the coin, like so. See? Cute. Let me actually try these on here because I haven't tried them. I don't know if this is gonna dry. It might dry, we'll see. I mean, you can use them. I just feel like it's gonna wipe off very easily versus these. They do eventually dry and they're not as like wipeable until you get something to wipe them off. Like here you could use an alcohol pad. You can use, I think you can use, well, you can use water on the blue one because that's a wet erase marker, but on the Sharpie, you can use a little bit more different kind of stuff to wipe this off. These, don't do that. Just use water to take them off. That's what I've found is the best. These, I wouldn't use these on this. So again, you just have to know whichever one you decide on. There's only certain kind of markers, certain types of things that you can only use on. If you want to make sure that these stay in the condition that they are, because they're so pretty and I don't want to ruin them. I'm just going to get a little water and a paper towel and just erase these. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna, this comes off so easy, even when it's been on there for a while. Now I will say, I feel like these, the vis-a-vis are good, but they do live a little, I would say, like ghosting of the color on there. You can't see it, but I feel like the Crayola ones, they come off completely from these. It comes off, like the vis-a-vis ones, the Expo ones, come off, but I feel like I could still see a faint little hint of red, but they still come off with water, so that's good. And then these, let me just wipe this off. These are super easy to clean. That one comes off super easy. This one, okay, I can't use water to take that one off. I would have to use, let me get some nail polish remover, like an alcohol type of liquid. All right, so I just got some nail polish remover. I'm just gonna take that off here. I'm a little bit of a mess, but it comes off. You do have to put a little bit of pressure down, but it does eventually clean off, and then you'll be able to use it again. I just have to clean it off a little bit more. But yeah, honestly, anything that's wet erase, I feel like that's the best option. Wet erase for this with the Expo, and then wet erase with the Crayolas on this. That's my recommendation if you want to keep these nice and pretty and reusable for a very long time. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I'm pretty sure it's very long, in-depth kind of how-to, but I like doing those kind of videos, just showing you every little step and tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you appreciated this. I hope you go out and make your own trackers, because they are fun to make, especially for your own specific reasonings on like goals that you're trying to meet. So you can really, you know, make this, you know, tailor it to like what you need in your life, which is always the best. And then when I feel like when you make them, then you want to use them a little bit more too. When they're cute, you want to save more, which is even better. But yeah, hopefully that this video is very informative and you're able to make your own if you're interested. But yeah, I just wanted to put this video out there because I like to show how to do the things that I make, that I have on my channel, that I'm planning on selling in my shop, just so that way you have all the options for your budgeting journey, depending on like what your budget is. But this is a great option to be able to make your own stuff and to just, you know, have it right away, because I like to have that, the access to it right away too. But yeah, hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.